Is this thing on? Hello? Hello? Whatever. We're live. What is up, guys? It's Alex Johnson here, the founder and lead analyst at yardsperfantasy.com. Welcome to the 126th episode of the Feed Me Fantasy podcast. Let's eat. Just when you thought drafting season was over, Underdog brings back Best Ball with their Best Ball Resurrection Tournament. Start drafting now for the tournament that runs week 6 through week 17 and is giving away $500,000 in prizes. Use promo code YARDSPER to get a $100 deposit match when you sign up on Underdog Fantasy. Just go to underdogfantasy.com or download the Underdog Fantasy app. Use that promo code YARDSPER. But today we're talking ads, drops, buys, and sells. You already know about the Khalil Herberts, Jamal Williams, Alexander Madison. We don't talk about the obvious guys like that on this show. And plus, your waivers have already run anyway, and they should have already been rostered. But if they were available, you were probably sitting there Tuesday night wondering, how much fab should I spend to acquire one of these guys? Well, if you were a Patreon member, you would have known exactly how much I was bidding on those guys. That's because every week I post my waiver wire rankings and exactly what I'm willing to spend in fab on each player. That posts Tuesday evenings before most waivers run to help you make the most of your fab budget. You can find that exclusively at patreon.com/yardsperfantasy. But someone who may not quite be as obvious as a Herbert or Madison or Jamal Williams is Craig Reynolds. Craig Reynolds is a sneaky ad off the waiver wire this week, with DeAndre Swift likely to miss the next 2 games. And Reynolds, he played well in opportunities last season, scoring as a top 24 running back with double-digit fantasy points in weeks 14 and week 15, with both Swift and Williams sidelined. And you probably don't have to spend fab to get him, especially at this point. He's probably just sitting on your waiver wire, available to be stashed, scooped up for free. Put him on the end of your bench, or if you're really desperate for a streamer, you could consider Craig Reynolds. Now, sticking to the waiver wire for a minute, we're going to talk about Zay Jones. I talked about Zay Jones in the preseason as a late round wide receiver to target. And I talked about him again on this show after week 1. He's had target shares of 21%, 13%, and 28% to start the season. And now he's coming off a week 3 performance in which he caught 10 of 11 targets for 85 yards and a score. He's leading the Jaguars in receptions. If he's still available on your waiver wire, scoop him up and don't let him go. He's going to be a startable wide receiver 3 or flex for the rest of the season. Now, let's go from the waiver wire to the real good stuff, the fun stuff. Let's go to the trade market. And a guy I want you to buy is Breece Hall. Breece Hall's week 3 performance was far more impressive than his fantasy outlook or output will tell you. While he's going to continue to split the snaps and the carries and the targets with Michael Carter, it appears week 3 may have been the beginning of a changing of the guard in that Jets backfield. Carter had a slight edge in most usage categories through the first 2 weeks, but Hall outsnapped Carter for the first time in week 3. He also had a 21% target share to Carter's 4%. Hall is one of the better running back prospects to enter the league in recent seasons. And that tells us two things. First, that it's inevitable that he is going to take on more opportunities as the season goes along. And second, that when he does become the true number one, he has the skill to become a real difference maker in fantasy football. So I am throwing out offers for Breece Hall in all my leagues this week. Now, if we're buying guys, we got to be selling, right? We got to have guys that we're selling. So somebody I am selling this week, this is a guy kind of hurts a little bit because I drafted him, a decent amount during the summer. That's Chase Edmonds. And he was used. We were celebrating after week one. He was used as Miami's clear RB1 in week one. We were victory lapping. Chase Edmonds, it's going to happen. Let's go. Since then, however, Raheem Mostert has been the top dog in that backfield. Despite scoring 2 touchdowns in week 3, Edmonds was actually out-snapped by Mostert, 56% to 44%. And Mostert also doubled his target share, 10% to 5%. And he ran 11 routes, which was a 50% route participation rate, to Edmonds' 8, which was 36.4%. Your league mates who are only looking at the box score will see Edmonds had a good game because he scored 2 touchdowns. That should allow you to get a decent return in a trade. So take advantage. Now, what you probably still can't do is take Chase Edmonds alone and trade him, but you can package him as part of a deal to maybe go an upgrade at running back or a wide receiver and sneak him into a deal like that. I think you have a lot more success because I've seen some people saying, I even with the 2 touchdowns, Chase Edmonds, I'm not getting the good offers or nobody's accepting him. But I think if you can package him together with some other players as part of a bigger deal, I think you can pull off a trade. And maybe one of those guys you want to go and upgrade for is Joe Mixon, but you got to hurry up and do it before he plays tonight. It's well known that the Bengals offensive line has gotten off to a slow start. But considering how much they invested into upgrading that unit this offseason, we have to believe they'll gel at some point, right? It's going to happen. They're going to be fine, right? I think. And that would be great news for Joe Burrow in the passing attack, but also Joe Mixon. Mixon has averaged just 3 yards per carry in every game as he struggles to find running lanes. However, the usage is encouraging. He's averaged 19 carries per game, and he's had target shares of 17%, 11%, and 19% to start the season. That is elite bell cow usage that barely a handful of running backs in the league get a chance to have. If the offensive line and the offense as a whole gets it together, Mixon is going to be a fantasy monster, and that could start as soon as tonight. Let's head back to the waiver wire for a minute, should we? I think we should, right? A sneaky ad last week at tight end was Tyler Conklin. He was a sneaky ad after week 2. He had a 20% target share while running 89% of the routes. And then he came out and was one of the highest scoring tight ends in week 3 after catching 8 of his 8 targets for 84 yards. The usage remained high with a 73.2% route participation rate and a 15% target share in week 4. Now, of course, the Jets are having a quarterback change from week 3, the first few weeks to now in week 4. Zach Wilson's back under center for the Jets. That is obviously going to change the dynamics of that offense. There's no way in hell they're going to keep dropping back 50 times a game. So we're cautiously adding and stashing Tyler Conklin. But the usage has been too good. The usage has been too good to not at least scoop him up in leagues where you need a tight end or a deeper league, or if you're streaming the position. Tyler Conklin is still worth a look. I would be more bullish on him if Joe Flacco is going to remain the quarterback. However, it's just too much. Same thing with Breece Hall. The usage is just too much right now to deny and to completely overlook and be like, oh, this offense we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen with this offense. with Wilson at quarterback, but we have to still at least look at these usage trends and just see how it plays out from here. So I'm still stashing and scooping up and even streaming in a few deeper leagues, Tyler Conklin. All right, let's go back to the trade market. That's the fun stuff, right? The trade market. And a guy I'm selling this week is Antonio Gibson. We were celebrating after week 1 when Antonio Gibson ran 14 times and then he had a 20% target share. That's what we were looking for. That's what we were hoping for. That target share, the participation in the passing game, that's what he wasn't getting last season. J.D. McKissic's in the way, it's what has held this guy back. This was a wide receiver in college. Why are they not using him in passing game? And then, of course, we had all that shit in the preseason with, he's playing on special teams. He's getting benched. He's fumbling, all that shit. And he comes out and he has a great week 1. Has the rushing game, has the passing downs work. However, since then, while the carries have remained stable, the passing game usage has declined in every game since then. His target shares have been just 9% and 2% over the last 2 weeks, while the team has gone back to using J.D. McKissic on passing downs. In fact, McKissic ran double Gibson's number of routes, 30 to 15 in week 3. Like shit, man, come on. And now, Gibson's rushing share could be in danger with the imminent return of the rookie, Brian Robinson. I don't think he's going to be back this week, but it sounds like there's a real good shot he plays in week 5. And I'm not saying he's going to come in and take over that backfield, but just eating into Gibson's work, a couple carries here, a couple carries there is all it's going to take to really, really deflate Gibson's fantasy production. But Gibson did score touchdowns in back-to-back weeks, so that should help him hold his value for at least this week. Just long enough for you to shop him around, show your league mates, hey, maybe they're not paying attention. This guy just scored touchdowns in back-to-back weeks, caught a bunch of passes in week 1. Dangle him out there, and just see if you get any bites. So I've seen a few people mention on Twitter this week that they are considering dropping Titans rookie wide receiver Treylon Burks. These are the people who only look at the box score and they see that he had 1 catch for 13 yards. Well, that's, certainly not good. There's a bit more that we can hang our hats on here with Treylon Burks. Burks ran a route on 27 of Ryan Tannehill's 29 dropbacks in week 3. That's a 96.4% route participation rate. That is elite. And that led all Titans wide receivers. And his snaps are also up from 37% in week 1 to 45% in week 2 to 69% in week 3. The team also manufactured a touch for him in week 3 as he received his first rush attempt. While his 8% target share was, a little discouraging, the target numbers were solid in the first 2 weeks, 15% and 25%. In fact, he entered week 3 with a 37.9% target rate, which is targets per route. And that ranked 8th among all NFL wide receivers, not on the Titans, all NFL wide receivers. He ranked 8th coming into the week in targets per route, according to playerprofiler.com. So if he takes his target numbers from the first 2 weeks and he combines that with his snaps and the routes from week 3, Treylon Burks is going to be a breakout star in no time. I'm definitely not ready to drop, and I may even throw out a few buy low offers on him this week. So no panicking yet on Treylon Burks. How about we go out and buy, speaking of trades, let's go buy Courtland Sutton. I know it sounds kind of gross, right? That Broncos offense. We really want pieces of that. But Courtland Sutton was a guy I loved coming into the season. And that was mostly because I anticipated a major quarterback and offense upgrade. Instead, both Russell Wilson and the whole offensive unit has struggled through the first 3 weeks. However, they did flash at the end of that game against the Niners. Maybe it was a fluke, but maybe, just maybe, they found something at the end of that game. Either way, they can't continue to underperform this badly, right? Like, this can't continue. This can't. They're too talented. With the expectation that this offense will find its groove eventually, I am buying Courtland Sutton. He has had target shares of 35% and 30% over the last 2 weeks. And at 6'3", 218 pounds, he is a red zone monster in waiting. We just got to get to the red zone. The snaps, routes, and air yards have all been there too. We're just waiting on you, Russ. Come on, Russ. Step it up. Come on, man. Stop making awkward TikToks and get this offense going. Anyway, let's go back to the waiver wire for a minute. There's still a few guys who could be lingering out there. You got to check your waiver wire for, and one of them is KJ Osborne. Like I said with Zay Jones earlier, Osborne was a favorite late round wide receiver for me this year. And, it was a quiet start to the season, but Osborne exploded for 5 receptions, 8 targets, which was a 20% target share, for 73 yards and a game-winning touchdown against the Lions. He has standalone value, as we saw in week 3, as a flex play and, in deeper PPR leagues, with wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 upside if anything happens to Justin Jefferson or Adam Thielen. And we know Thielen, he's not exactly, a spring chicken. He's had some injury issues over the last couple of years. So there's a chance that at some point, KJ Osborne is the wide receiver 2 in that offense. And that's going to give him top 30 upside in fantasy football. So another guy, I talked about Treylon Burks as a rookie, who's kind of getting off to a slow start this year. Super talented rookie class, though. There's another guy with some encouraging indications that I'm still not ready to give up on yet. And that's George Pickens. Now, I'm not like with Burks. I said I'm trying to make some offers for him, buy low. I'm probably not doing that with George Pickens, maybe in Dynasty. Well, definitely in Dynasty, but you probably can't buy low in Dynasty still. But it can't hurt to try. But anyway, the Steelers' offense is terrible. The offensive, the quarterback situation is even worse. And with a ton of target competition on top of that, there's a good chance that George Pickens' rookie season just goes to waste. But like I said, with that said, I am holding if I can. This is, in deeper leagues. Pickens is one of the most talented wideouts and was already proven to be a loaded 2022 rookie class. In 3 weeks, Pickens has not had a snap share drop below 71%, while his lowest route participation rate was 88%. He's been on the field a ton. He's getting out there. He's out there. He's out there, guys. That's the first step. And then in week 3, he had his target share, his highest target share of the season. It skyrocketed. He was getting like 8%, 9%. It went up to 22% in week 3. We all saw that incredible catch he made on Thursday Night Football. He has everything he needs to explode if he can keep getting more opportunities. He's going to end up ahead of Chase Claypool on that depth chart. Maybe they make a quarterback change. I don't know if it's a huge upgrade going to Pickett, but it could be. It could be. There's a possibility. It can't get any worse, right? So I'm in deeper leagues. I am still stashing and holding on to George Pickens if I can, if it makes sense to. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up with one more player. Let's go back to the trade market where I am selling. Well, I'm recommending you sell because I don't have any of them. James Conner. Like I told you all summer long, you probably should not have drafted James Conner in the 3rd round. This was a guy who benefited from a massive unsustainable touchdown rate in 2021. And now that touchdown rate is predictably gone, and the entire offense, without DeAndre Hopkins and one of the worst offensive lines in the league, it's regressed. It has regressed. And shockingly, or really, he hasn't taken on the Chase Edmonds role on top of his own either, just as we predicted. In a week 3, Darrell Williams and Eno Benjamin combined for a 37.1% route participation rate to Connor's 33.9%. Connor has also failed to reach a double-digit target share since week 1. Now, things may improve to a degree, but he will not get back to his 2021 form. Sell if you can get a good return. But that's the show. That's the show. If you're looking for more week 4 content, head over to yardsperfantasy.com or download the Yards Per Fantasy app for articles, rankings, trade calculator, start sit tool, and more. There's so much we're doing at Yards Per Fantasy. So much. I highly, highly, highly encourage you check out what we're doing, whether it's the website, whether it's the app, whether it's on YouTube or TikTok. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. You can also find me back here live on Saturday night around 9 o'clock Eastern and Sunday at 12, answering all of your last-minute start-sit questions. In the meantime, join our Discord. You can find the link at the bottom of every page on the site. We're talking smack. We're answering questions in there every day. All right, so join us on Discord. Normally, I do take some questions at the end of the show, but I'm running low on time. We're gonna do all of that. We're gonna do all of that on Saturday night, all that before Sunday. This show normally happens on Wednesdays. We had some technical difficulties. I have more time on Wednesdays. A lot of technical difficulties with this show yesterday. It was a shit show. We got through like 2 players, and I said, fuck it, we're done. We're back today. We did the show. I think we got through it with no problems. I hope. I have to see if everything went through okay, but I think we did. Like I said, normally I would stop and answer questions at the end. I just don't have time for that today. Check us out on yardsperfantasy.com. See me back here Saturday night where we will dedicate an entire show to answering all of your questions. I appreciate everybody checking us out, checking out the show. Thanks, guys.